everybody. This is David Turner. I am the resident hope dealer here in, hope dealer at Impact Chiropractic. Sorry, this whole little camera thing just threw me off. I didn't even know where to point. So anyway, long story short, I am the hope dealer here at Impact Chiropractic, and I've got our resident functional medicine specialist, Casey Bordas, with me, and we're having a discussion today because yesterday was Earth Day. Happy birthday, Earth Day. And, you know, we started talking about conversations about how we reduce chemical stress in our lives and how that reduction of chemical stress in our lives actually benefits Mother Earth. And so we wanted to share a little bit with you today about that and just let you know that we got your back and that we are thinking about you, because in this office, my primary goal is to see how I can really reduce the stress in your lives, whether that stress is physical, whether it's chemical, whether it's emotional. So today we're going to talk about Mother Earth and chemical stress. And Casey is going to help share with us exactly what we can do in our lives to reduce that chemical stress. And so before I bring her up and have her discuss real quick, I just wanted to say this. You know, when I was a kid, I used to justify peeing in the pool. And my justification was this little saying that I always heard that says, dilution is the solution to pollution. Well, that's not necessarily true, is it, Casey?
I guess it used to make sense when there wasn't so much pollution.
Yeah.
But this actually brings me back to a story that I read last week to some kids at camp, and our whole theme was like loving Earth. And we really demonstrated that, what if everybody did that theme by grabbing some trash and letting each one of those kids sprinkle it on the lawn, and maybe one person peeing in the pool is not really a big deal, but when everybody does it, it adds up. It's the same thing with all the toxins in our environment. Right now we're experiencing this crazy explosion of toxins coming from our food, coming from all angles, our body products, you know, things in the air. So we really have to work on what we can control in our home.
Yeah, well, I will say this, you know, there was a study that was done. As you guys know, both Casey and I love taking care of kids. And so I do this talk called Delivered to Pregnant Mommies. And there's a study out there that was looking at pregnancy and newborn infants, and they basically took a sample of cord blood from a newborn infant, and they isolated about 280 some odd chemical toxins in that cord blood, and they found that out of those 280 toxins, about 100 of them were known carcinogens, which means they cause cancer. 217 of those were just known neurotoxins, which just means that they're bad for our brain and for our nervous system. And about another 200 were known chemical causers of birth defects and or birth like abnormal development. So, you know, we know that we are being inundated by these things, because if we're finding it in the cord blood, that means it had to go from mom and mom's exposure into that cord blood, and that's going right into our infants before they're even born.
And then we know once they're born, it actually gets passed into the breast milk to the baby. We know that it crosses the blood-brain barrier. We know that their blood-brain barrier doesn't close until they're around 2 years. So think about the accumulation of toxins that are building up in these little children. Their brains are maxed out of the amount of toxins that they can hold.
Right, and we are inundated with them. So here's the deal. We're going to break this into 3 categories to make it easy for you guys, because, you know, if we can make it small changes, just 5 degrees really make a world of good when we do 5 degrees every single week, and we turn around a year later and we've gone 52 times of 5 degrees. It's crazy. So basically, if you would, if we just looked under our kitchen cabinets, what could we do under our kitchen cabinets to reduce the exposure to toxins?
So much. There's so much you can do. Actually, what's good for the environment is going to be good for you and your family, but it's also going to save you money. So if you think about all those expensive cleaners that you're spending money on, really you can make these things for a lot less. So my favorite things that we've kind of switched out, we just use different types of vinegar. We use lemon, we use baking soda. Those are our favorites. But when I decide to use a cleaner, I use Thieves from Young Living. It's in concentrate form, completely safe. You could lick it if you needed to, but we clean all of our surfaces with that. I mean, basically there's nothing that we need chemicals for anymore. Lemon essential oil and olive oil make an amazing furniture polish, and it's completely non-toxic. So you don't have to worry about your little kids kind of getting this stuff on their fingers and mouth, or your pets. Everything is completely safe, and you save a ton of money.
Yeah, and it's funny, as you're saying that, I'm sitting there thinking about all the changes that even those of us who have switched out everything could even make, because we've switched out everything from the harsh chemicals to the more natural products like seventh generation or method. So we've changed out all of our soaps, all of our detergents, all of our liquids, and we've gone really natural, color-free, fragrance-free, color-free and,
Exactly.
and all of those. So we've taken that out, but look at what we could even do with just the basics, like you
So
say,
simple.
vinegar, water, lemon juice,
Glass
etc.
bottles, also, so you're not using more plastic, and plastic kind of leads into stuff too. So there's so much that you can do at home. And I do like a lot of those products that you mentioned. So if making stuff is really not for you, you could get some of those products that are clean as well.
What about, so that's under our kitchen cabinets. What about the stuff that we put onto our bodies? All of our beauty products and things like that. What do we need to watch out for there?
I mean, there are thousands upon thousands of ingredients here that are not regulated in the United States. So there's a huge movement. In case you guys have been under a rock, Beauty Counter. Beauty Counter is this amazing company, and they are some amazing representatives that I work with. So if you have some questions, I can put you in touch with them. But they are moving to actually change legislation so that these chemicals are not put into our products anymore. I mean, think about not too long ago, maybe a couple months back, there were some kind of problem with Claire's in their makeup that they were using for kids, and it had all kinds of poisons and carcinogens for children. So that's a real problem. We need to worry about that because the skin absorbs all those types of poisons and chemicals, and it feeds it right down to our liver, and it accumulates over time. So we really need to be aware of some of those products that we're putting on our skin. We're bathing with our shampoos, the lotions, and all those types of things, even our makeup.
Well, in fact, our skin is our largest organ of our body. It is an organ that helps us to detoxify by letting things out, but it also absorbs all of those things. So if you're putting it on your skin, it's definitely getting in there. So the sunscreens, the lotions, they have the phthalates, they have the parabens in them. All of these are known hormone mimickers.
Yes.
So it literally mimics things like estrogen. And so if you're a female, you recognize that estrogen is one of the known suspects for breast cancers. And of course, if you're a little boy or a man, you're now putting female hormone mimickers right onto your skin, and it's changing the way that our bodies function.
Think about our young ladies, and they're starting to mature so much faster than they ever would before. It's really messing up their hormones.
All right, well, that brings up a whole nother topic because that makes me think of milk, and it makes me think of
Food.
food and antibiotics and hormones in those kinds of things. So what can we do to clean up our food?
Well, you can start by trying to get organic whenever possible, and you can look at the Dirty Dozen list. It's updated every year. So you can take a look at that and try not to purchase those things that are on that list. Try to buy organic whenever you can, and if you can't, clean your produce, clean your fruits and things like that in a solution, or lemon, essential oil, vinegar, anything to take off some of those disgusting pesticides and glyphosate and things like that we're really seeing are a huge problem.
I don't want to just dance around the dirty dozen. Can you just name a couple of them? Because guys, you eat them all the time.
Kale was at the top of the list this past year, so that was something that it surprised everybody and shocked everybody. Hasn't been on the list before. So even some of your healthier foods, we're always going to see strawberries, grapes, and things like that. So anything pretty much that's on a tree or on a bush, you need to look out because it's probably going to be on that list.
And especially the ones that have skins that we actually plop into our mouths, and not actually peeling, but even some of the ones that we peel.
Absolutely. Those things are going to be covered in some kind of wax coating. A lot of them are injected with color and dye. So we need to really watch out for those, what we're putting into our body. The problem I'm seeing now is a lot of grains and things like that too. They're completely laden with glyphosate, which we now know is a huge problem. So you need to be aware where your food's coming from. You'll see that Kellogg's and all those different types of snacks and cereals, those things have tested positive for glyphosate. So we really need to be aware of what we're feeding our children, what we're feeding ourselves. So anything that comes in a package, you need to be aware of that.
All right, so I'm going to make her do one more thing for me. Glyphosate. You've said that numerous times. What actually is that? What's the common name for that?
Roundup, actually.
Roundup.
Yes.
So that's the stuff we spray on our weeds. That's the weed killer. They're spraying that stuff to get rid of a lot of the plants and things that are choking out their crops, and so when they're using it on the farms. That's
exactly.
Right. So anyway, the glyphosate, we got to be avoiding that.
It's
and guys,
cumulative too, so it actually builds up in the system and stays inside the tissue. It's not expelled through the body regularly, so it builds up. That's a major problem. It's a neurotoxin for the brain as well.
That's right. So these are three basic ideas. I want to say this. If some of you probably caught, I was looking back here at my lending library. I have a really cool book that I'm going to recommend by Michael Pollan. Michael Pollan is a journalist and a researcher. He's written numerous books on food and how to eat healthier. And he had one called Food Rules. I must have already lent it out to somebody, but Food Rules is really cool, and it tells us how we can eat better and healthier, but it simplifies things really like the dummy and me needs, which is, hey, we don't eat it if it's delivered to us through the window of our car. We don't eat it if it has more than 5 ingredients. We don't eat it if a fifth grader could not pronounce those ingredients, different things like that. So I hope that this has been informative for you guys. We want to celebrate Mother Earth. We want to keep her healthy because that's what's going to keep us healthy. So we want to celebrate Earth Day, which was yesterday. If you didn't already get out there, go plant a tree, go do something for our Earth, because gosh knows we can destroy it so fast. But in the process, if you clean up Mother Earth, chances are you're going to be cleaning up your health too.
Absolutely.
You'll have less stress, and Casey and I, you'll be able to put us out of a job. So
Yeah.
anyway, guys, thank you for chiming in. Thank you for watching our little cast here today, and we'll be back with some good information very soon. Y'all take care and have a great day.
Have a great day.